Hello and welcome to a conquest video where I go over my gameplay, what I'm doing and the reasons why I'm doing it. So, you will notice first off the bat I have brought up Death Snow as well as picked up boots. The reason for this is rather simple. Erlong is a basic attack character, so I can sustain off of Death Snow basically on every single minion kill as well as getting extra health, and I have the boots for movement speed. I then have the pots for sustain, so health and mana when I need them. Plus as well I have the teleport, which means I can then return to lane as quickly as possible. This is pretty much what every single solo laner will be picking up, apart from the fact that certain ability based solo laners will be using Bluestone. Now, what normally happens here is the jungler will be picking up the speed, which in this case is Nijar, but Nijar decides against that. This means that Nijar is a very newbie jungler and has no idea what the hell they're doing. And also as well, Nijar has no idea how to actually clear camps. What you should be doing is you should be pulling the camp around the corner and then taking it. But Nijar again has stolen my blue, which I actually need. And you shouldn't be doing. What Nijar should then do after that is immediately coming to lane like Bakasaur has just done, clear the wave and then go to fire elementals, which are at fire giants. Instead, Nijar has gone straight to the back camps, which is the inefficient and wrong way of doing it. You get more gold from the fire elementals as well as more XP, and then you can immediately then go to the mid camps, get even more gold and XP. Now you'll see here immediately what I did was I backed off as soon as Bakasaur was there because it was a 2 versus 1. And now because it's a 1 versus 1, I'm pretty much just playing with Artemis and poking her. What I am doing, if you're curious, is I'm trying to look at the minimap as well as trying to get as much minions into the tower as humanly possible to try and starve as much XP and gold from her. Now I do know in the back of my mind that Bakasaur has a vague idea what he's doing, which is why I'm going to be checking the fire elementals to check if they are gone or not. Plus as well I cleared the wave, so there's no point in me staying in lane. What I am doing at the moment is I'm trying to get as much XP and gold as possible, as well as trying not to die and trade with Artemis. This is pretty much what you want to be doing in solo lane. You want to be bullying the other player. It's pretty much a 1v1 until the team fight starts. Now I can see Bakasaur immediately tries to jump on me, so I basically use my escape to get away. I have 15 or so seconds until my escape comes back up, and as a result you will see me play a bit more passive. Very simple, very easy to understand. Now here I've cleared the wave and I sort of trying to get as many minions as I can into the tower to try and starve as much gold from Artemis, and I am pretty successful. That is extremely risky to do though, especially because Bakasaur is hanging around. Now in this matchup, I know that Artemis has a very dookie wave clear, which is why I'm trying to exploit that as best as possible. Now I could have actually gone back to base and got my 4 boots, which would help me clear, but instead I decided to basically try and get as many minions as I can into Artemis's tower, as well as burning as many potions as I can before going back. This is incredibly greedy to do, but because my mana consumption is extremely low, I can actually just about get away with it. Now, if you're curious why it's incredibly greedy and risky, you've just seen an example of it. Bakasaur ganks me and then does a lot of damage to me, forcing me to ult in retaliation. What I should have done there is backed off and not took the fight with Artemis because I didn't have vision on Bakasaur. Plus as well, I was running low on mana and health. But instead I decided to try and fight with Artemis because I thought in the back of my mind that I can actually win. Now here, instead of backing, I decide to go to my blue to try and secure it, as well as telling my jungler I want my blue. But again, the jungler then nicks the blue because he's inexperienced. The jungler then tells me to go and pick up speed for whatever reason, and there we go. Even though blue is the buff I want.
I feel stronger already.
So, what you're about to see here is pretty simple. I am going to be editing this clip out because I'm going to be sending Nijar a message telling him that he should be picking up these items as well as picking up these buffs. But instead Nijar is going to ignore my advice for the rest of the game. Nijar is an English speaker, by the way. Okay, so back to the gameplay.
Your left tower is under attack.
What I'm doing here is basically tending to my area, which is basically my lane. So I'm basically going to come over here, try and clear the minion wave, as well as trying to get Nijar to attack Artemis, because I know Artemis has no buff on at the moment, because he just used his attack speed. So Nijar is on the way over, and what I'm trying to do here is basically make it look like I'm clearing the wave as much as possible. I'm basically trying to bait Artemis' ult, which we do. Nijar misses his ult and then dies. That's a sign of a very inexperienced jungler. What he should have done there was he should have immediately ulted into the taunt instead of trying to sash into ult and then chase the kill under the tower. You can see here Artemis stays under tower of very, very low health. This is a mistake on his part. I go into the trap to bait him and then throw the pin to kill Artemis. Very simple.
Good luck.
I then decide to come over and check the fire elementals. This is something you should be doing as a player. If you are the mid laner or solo laner, you should always be trying to get these fire elementals as well as trying to get as much farm as possible. Those fire elementals are worth a lot of gold and worth a lot of XP, so you want to be trying to get them as often as possible. So, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to decide what I want to be building. Solo lane is pretty much all about counter building, and because I'm playing against someone that has an auto attack character, mainly Artemis as well as Bakasaur, I decide to go straight into Mid Guardian Mail. Because Mid Guardian Mail for every single basic attack slows down your attack, especially if it's on you.
There was nothing you could have done there.
Artemis has switched lanes, and I probably should have called that out, in all honesty. Calling missing is something you should be doing in pretty much every single role, and I didn't do. I didn't have eyes on her either, so I have no idea why they were all the way up there to begin with. Nijar then falls as well.
Sorry. That's too bad.
Now I hear Bakasaur, so I know he's not too far away, and I know he is stupidly far ahead. And you're about to see a misplay on my part very soon. Smite basically comes down to levels as well as items. You want to be trying to pick fights that you can win, not fights you can't win. If someone is over leveled compared to you, they can probably win that fight. What I'm trying to do here is get as many minions again into Artemis' tower as possible. Very simple, very easy. This is something I probably should have done a bit sooner and rotate straight to the middle lane, especially when I clear my wave, because I'm facing against Artemis. Trying to put my mid lane ahead. Here I'm diving tower to basically try and stop him from backing, and I'm unsuccessful. I probably should have rotated sooner to middle lane, especially because I had the much better matchup as well as having the much better clear. Here I can see there are a couple of people over in my lane, and I immediately come over to the wave to try and clear it as best as possible. Easy. And here's the mistake I was talking about. Bakasaur is extremely over leveled and has no problem ulting me and pretty much killing me instantly. I should have not took that fight. I should have actually cleared the wave as safe as possible and left him alone. Bakasaur at this stage is extremely over leveled and extremely dangerous. I should have actually recognised that and not attacked him.
There was nothing you could have done there.
Sometimes when you are behind, you have to play safe. In fact, I'm going to reword that. You should always be playing safe and getting as much farm as possible, not trying to pick fights with people that you can't win.
Easy life.
Good luck.
On the bright side though, our mid laner is doing okay, which is actually good news. Bakasaur is invading, so I'm pretty much just going to try and get some poke on him and try and discourage him from stealing any more camps. I know that my blue is going to be spawning soon, as well as having my speed up. Now here I initiated the F6 because I didn't think we could win. My duo lane has no idea what they're doing, my jungler has no idea what they're doing, only the solo laner has no idea what they're doing, and the mid laner. Plus as well, because the other team are actually ahead at this point just because of Bakasaur, it would have actually been a better choice to surrender, but my teammates decide to carry on.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Okay, so Bakasaur is incredibly over-leveled. I'm taking a fight with him. Why am I doing that? Because Kalukan is nearby. As a result, I basically try and avoid Bakasaur's Butcher's Blades, which I do successfully. I ping my Kalukan to come over here, and I know Bakasaur has not finished Fatalis, which means I can actually get away with doing that. I'm at high enough health, and I have my ult up, which means I can pretty much avoid it. So what happens there is very simple. Bakasaur gets his ult wasted, I use my ult in retaliation, and Kalukan then helps me drive him away. Very simple, very easy. And that was all because I looked at the mini-map. Incredible, isn't it? You just need to look at the mini-map. And there's so much information on the mini-map. Oh, it's so useful. Who knew? Who knew? So here I'm going back to finish Midgardian Mel because it's very useful in this matchup. They have a auto attack character in the form of Bakasaur, Artemis, and even Agni and Apollo. So more than 4 members of their team have auto attack characters. So why not pick Midgardian Mel as your first item? Here I clear the camp and then immediately go to the mid lane to try and provide support as best as possible.
Tower is under attack.
Sylvanas though is on his way split pushing because Sylvanas is a tree and that's what trees can do. Not really, split pushing is actually a really terrible idea to do as Sylvanas. Here we could have actually all grouped up and actually took the tower, but half my team decides to just back off for whatever reason. Instead, I decide to go over to the right lane to see if I could cause some ruckus over there. Artemis is just sat here waiting, tries to get some poke on Sylvanas, but unfortunately Sylvanas is too tanky at this point and very difficult to kill. As well as Artemis not having any pen, I don't believe. So Sylvanas is pretty hard to kill. This is actually the wrong call to make. What we should have done is went straight to the mid lane and got that tower. But instead Artemis decides to attack right lane because she thinks Tree is very easy to kill. Unfortunately he's very tanky, and there you go. You will also see as well Artemis picked up Med. Okay, so why is meditation bad on anyone that has a very small health pool? Very simple. Meditation scales off of health and your mana
There was
pool.
nothing you could have done there.
Hunters, mages, assassins all have a very small mana pool and health pool early on as well as late game, unless you buy health items. Artemis is unlikely to be buying health items because she is a hunter. You can potentially get away with it when it comes to mages. Yes, it does work, especially if you build something like Warlock Sash, but it's much better suited on Guardians or Guardians or Warriors who build into health items. and it's much better as a second item as opposed to first. Plus as well, in this case, Sanctuary or Beads, Purification, would have been a much better choice because of the high amount of CC their team has. You can use your Beads, get away from the CC, and pretty much avoid dying. As opposed to Meditation, which you use, you still take damage, but you heal up, and you die. For anyone who's curious on the maths behind it, Hunbat, early game would only get 80 health from Meditation. Pots will give you 250. Late game, it turns into something like 250. So why would you not pick up Purification, which helps with your early game, as well as helping early on. There is no logic or reason behind it. Yes, Meditation does make sense on certain characters and in certain situations. For example, against Ao Kuang, it's very useful. Now here I try to initiate F6 again. I know one of my teammates has now quit the game, and I decided that it is time to quit. But unfortunately, my team decided not to. That is the second F6 vote they have declined. I was going to go over to the right tower, but I had a feeling it was going to fall before I was get there, and it turned out I was right. So there is that. Now here I'm deciding what relics to pick up, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe Shell. But I decided to Sprint because they have a Hep curse on their team, which slows people down. Sprint counters that. Plus as well, I can basically sprint out of the back assault ult. You will also notice as well that I am actually looking at what people are building to just try and get an idea of how to counter build the enemy team. Easy. Here I can see a fight is taking place. It is 2 versus 1. I decide to get the kill and then I immediately back off. But Nija decides to go in. In that situation you should just, well, back off. Artemis was with us and the rest of your team was pretty much moving away. But instead Nija got greedy and decides to kill himself. Here it's a 2 versus 1 and I know I can kill Apollo. So I immediately go in for Apollo. We have a high amount of damage in Kalukan, and I know the tower is very weak, so I decide, you know what, I'm going to tank the tower. This is something Guardians and Warriors should be doing consistently, tanking towers and basically getting objectives with their teammates that can do damage. Here I'm pretty much playing Escort with Kalukan, trying to make sure that Bakasaur is not going to kill him and gank him. Here is me checking the mid camps, etc, etc. You will notice I am basically rotating around the map and trying to get as much as I can when I can. My rotations are not on point this game, I'll admit that, but I am turning up the fights which are required.
Take this jungle buff.
Something you may have noticed, but I'm not sure if you did, is the fact that I am checking my minimap as often as possible. At the same time, I am also checking the scoreboard to see what the other team are building. Basically to find out who are the threats and who are not the threats. I've just taken a look at Bakasaur and seen that he is building Crusher, he hasn't built Fatalis. This means when he ults, I can basically use Sprint or use my Escape and actually get away with him, especially if I move out of the slow. Because I've seen Crusher, I know he is focusing on being a split pusher. This means I am going to be using my teleport to try and stop him from split pushing. It also makes as well wards incredibly useful. Unfortunately, we don't have many towers at this point, or any. And as a result, I have to pretty much judge where I need to put my wards versus importance against his split push potential, which is incredibly difficult. Here, I use Sprint to basically counter Artemis's curse, means I can catch up with her and then I can pretty much kill her. I pretty much at this stage baited the beads and then I can pretty much kill her. This is counter building 101. I saw that they had picked up a curse. I built sprint to basically counter the curse and then used the sprint at the right time. Easy peasy.
As we fight, I grow strong.
And again, clear the wave and then start fighting. Now, there's 3 versus 3 at this stage in the middle lane. This is a fight we can actually take. What I should have done there is actually pin Bakasaur as opposed to use the basic attack buff first of all. Also as well, I probably should have actually went for Agni and tried to bait out the escape first. But instead, I did it in the wrong order and didn't recognise that Agni was still there. I've taken a lot of poke, so I decided to go back to base and then come back to the tower. Now I know speed is going to be spawning soon, so I decided to get the XP and gold from speed. What my team just did there was incredibly stupid and foolish. They rushed the other team when they should have actually stayed near the tower and defended it. But instead they decided to chase kills and die. Glucan, though, you will notice, especially on the minimap, is actually backing off because he doesn't have much health, but he does have an incredibly high amount of mana.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Now I know Bakasaur has built Crusher, so there's no point in me stopping this camp and stopping Bakasaur from getting that, because at the moment he has one of the greatest split push potentials in the entire game, as well as having very great tower push. So instead, I should probably just come in to see if I can stop him from attacking Kalukan, that is. Now here is me checking the back camps and basically trying to get as much XP and gold as possible. If you're curious why I'm building the way I am, it's rather simple. I built health, protections, cooldown, and then I'm building more protections with something that actually counter builds the entire team, which in this case is Witchblade. I'm actually going to build a couple items which counters the other team, because my team are doing that badly. I need something extra. Now here I'm pretty much just cleaning up the wave, making sure that Bakasaur can't actually come in and easily get a Phoenix.
Now I'm invincible.
Unfortunately though, this is the end of the game, as an F6 is about to come up immediately for myself. And finally, they give up.
Team has destroyed a right enemy tower.
So, hope that was useful and enjoy the endgame stats. If you have any questions, just comment down below or send me a PSN message and I'll try and answer them as best as I can. Hope this was useful insight, and I don't claim to be the best player in the world, but it should help you with the basics when it comes to conquest. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time, I guess.
Hmm.